And that unpacking process is also, if you're to dissect it, it is part financial planning and part personal.
Right. Absolutely. And it's an opportunity to get to know where you've been, where you are, for the benefit of starting to plan where you're going.
Beautifully said.
Hey, what's this whole wealth journey podcast thing all about?
It's a podcast for entrepreneurs where we're trying to help them connect the meaning with their money.
Who are you?
Jim Gebhardt.
Oh, I'm Matthew Grishman, and we're a couple of financial guys having a not-so-traditional financial conversation called The Whole Wealth Journey. Here we go.
What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for the fact that you always make me go first. No, not really.
Do you know why? I mean, we haven't talked about the why behind gratitude in a while. I'm interrupting you, I realize.
That's okay. I do have some real gratitude today.
Awesome. And I promise
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, why?
But you may be a new listener to the show, right? And you may not be.
Me? I'm not a new listener to the show.
You may be new to the tribe.
Oh, someone who's here listening to the show. Right.
Why do these two financial guys talk about gratitude? Well, we don't know where or when you're catching this episode, right? You could be at the gym. You could be driving home. You could be after dinnering and just, going to digest a little whole wealth journey. And there are studies after studies after studies. And one of my dear, dear, dear friends and mentors, Lee Brower, just taught me about a new study that came out relative to the power and the impact of gratitude.
Okay.
There is a biochemical cascade that happens when you express gratitude. And it's the serotonin and the dopamine and all the sciencey stuff that I can't really get into.
It does nice stuff.
It does nice stuff for you. This study that recently came out, and I can't cite the study, but the study that recently came out that said not only does the giver of the gratitude receive the biochemical cascade, and the person that is listening, like that, the receiver of the gratitude, you're not expressing gratitude to me directly, but you're sharing your gratitude with me.
Right, the recipient of the share.
So as the recipient of the share, I also receive the same biochemical cascade. And while you may say, that's wonderful, that's not the point of the study. The point of the study is that anyone that witnesses the share receives the same biochemical cascade as the two parties that are in the share. So all 42 people that we have in studio with us today are receiving
a benefit,
a biochemical cascade benefit from your gratitude share. So that's a little emphasis on why we believe it's such a powerful, powerful thing. Because the other thing that it does, just to pick this apart a little further, is it clears the decks, right? It clears the decks on maybe you just had a fight with your wife or your partner or your boss or your cat, or you got cut off in traffic and it just peeved you off to the nth degree. When you slip into that attitude of gratitude, it flushes the decks on all of that. That's why we start every single show of all 1,200 episodes of this podcast with gratitude, and why we always will.
It flushes the decks because two things can't occupy the same space at once.
Liberals and Democrats?
Generally, those seem to be
Jews and Gentiles?
There you go. That's a little bit of different, sure.
Can't occupy the same space at the same time. Lightness and darkness.
So when we're feeling really crummy and we want to get really present with the big important conversation we're about to have with our financial planner, we use gratitude as a way to replace whatever negativity or whatever positivity may have just happened, and we want to get to that place of neutrality and just good vibes and good feelings. And you're right, it does reset. So I love that we do this because I come into studio sometimes and I'm a little hot. And when we start every episode with a little bit of gratitude, our tribe deserves the very best from you and me. And this is how we get present. This is how we get in a positive mind space and do whatever that biochemical cascadey thing that you just talked about. I got to go Google those three words and find out exactly what they mean. But I like them. They sound good. They make me feel good.
Who doesn't like a cascade?
No, I'm especially one that's made of biochemicals.
Right.
That's awesome.
It's probably sponsored by Cargill.
Yes. What are you grateful for today?
Oh, I can't believe we haven't stumbled and shared upon this already. The show today is brought to you by the Ryder Cup.
What is the Ryder Cup, Jim?
The Ryder Cup is a almost 100-year-old tradition. The next one will be the 100th anniversary of a golf tournament that is very unique. It is a match play tournament of the United States, 12 Americans versus 12 Europeans. And we, and I mean we as in you and me, and our youngest son, Grant, just got back from trip of a lifetime.
Our youngest son, Grant?
To the Ryder Cup. In your old stomping grounds in Hank and Jill's backyard.
Mom and Dad's backyard.
Old Bethpage, New York.
Yep.
At a fabulous, fabulous golf course that we got to trample around and hang out at for a few days. And my gratitude is that we were able to do that.
Yeah.
We were able to take the time, make the investment in time and energy and money and everything else to go have just such an unbelievable experience. And for Grant,
who's your son,
our youngest
not my son. Right. What ours is in you and Beth.
Right. Our 17-year-old son, who, probably age appropriate. Most of his texts are logistics related, right? I'm running late. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to Dylan's. I'm having dinner. Or did you Venmo me the money? He sent the most beautiful, heartfelt, grateful text the day we were flying back to Beth and me that I took a screenshot of because it was so beautiful what he wrote in terms of the experience that he was able to have, the three of us. It was just absolutely fabulous. So my gratitude is that we were able to create another unbelievable lifetime experience that will pay dividends every time I wear one of the 2 or 3 souvenirs I bought while I was there.
Well, thank you, brother. That was an awesome trip.
It was.
Let's face it. It's experiences like that not only are we trying to create for ourselves, but we're trying to model for others. I mean, you and I do this selfishly because this is the essence of life, right? Let's go. You only live once. Let's go do these insane things that most people only dream of doing. Let's go chase our dreams and make them a reality. And let's model that for others, because you and I live by this belief that if any other human has done something, then it's possible for me to do it as well.
Absolutely.
So let's go do the things that we want to do, and let's go show others that there's a path to doing it. And that is a big part of what the whole wealth journey is all about, is you and I living our lives.
Nice tie back.
In a way that others want to do the same and can develop the confidence that it's possible for them too.
Yes.
So we've spent some time here in the last 2 episodes, kind of talking about the financial part of the whole wealth journey, the financial planning part. And, if I go back and rewind the tape a little further, go back several episodes, we did kind of a mini series on the personal planning side, right? When we're in this space of exit planning, right? As entrepreneurs, one day planning for that big day when we, take the business and it transitions to the next generation and we're out and we're trying to harvest, all of this wealth we've created within the business so that we can go figure out what Life 3.0 looks like and have the financial resources to support it. We've spent a lot of time talking about the importance of doing that in this idea of like a 3-legged stool, right? Having equal importance in the planning of how we go execute a successful exit plan, where we incorporate business planning, right? Getting the business prepared for sale.
Yep. Optimizing all aspects of the business.
Everything.
Yep.
And then we have financial planning, personal financial planning, which is looking at our financial resources and seeing if they are prepared for Life 3.0 and getting them prepared for Life 3.0. And then there's this third and very often overlooked leg of the stool that we spend a lot of time talking about called the personal planning, which is what does my life actually look like in Life 3.0 and being able to design that. So the reason I bring this back up is if you've been hanging out with us for the last 6 or 7 episodes with personal planning and now you're here with us in the financial planning conversation, you might be noticing that there's a little bit of overlap here. And in reality, even though we talk about these 3 distinct and equally important legs of the stool. You and I specialize in two of those legs of the stool. And what really has happened within our planning process is they've kind of merged together into one big conversation called the Whole Wealth Journey, which really is about connecting the dots between the personal planning side of your life and the financial planning side of your life and putting them together into one cohesive process.
It's almost like we're winemakers.
Oh, tell me more.
We're vintners. I think vintner is just a cool word.
Okay.
Right? I mean, what is the artistry and the gift of a very, very talented winemaker? They don't, I mean, if you and I went out to a nice steakhouse, which, maybe we should try that sometime.
Sure.
And we order a nice bottle of Cab, right? And I know, you're
I'll enjoy it from a distance.
Sure. And, our other compadres will enjoy the Cab. That is not singularly 100% Cabernet Sauvignon grapes. That has been a blend of other grapes that go into making that beautiful, delicious wine. And that's the same thing here with the financial planning and the personal planning, is we are blending them together. There's a crossover and a conjunction that happens with those two parts, right? That those two different forms of grapes turn into a beautiful something.
Sure.
As a result of looking at the personal side of life and aspirationally, what are you looking to accomplish, hope to accomplish as you move forward?
Sure.
Right? Because just when you retire or you sell the business or you exit, whatever your favorite phraseology is for that, we don't believe you're done.
Oh, shit, no. We're just getting started.
You may be done monetarily. You may have enough in that context.
Which is the freedom to just get started.
Thank you. But you're not done in the context of like life, right?
Not the people we hang out with,
No,
for sure. Some
no.
are.
Some are, and that's okay. They're just not our people.
We lost them on episode 3.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. So I love the way we're trying to position this or show clients that it's a blending of financial planning, because sometimes that can be overwhelming for people. Like, oh God, I got to go like tell them all my warts and wounds about money and all my mistakes about money, and the money maybe I don't have enough, or I did, but I did this with it and that was bad, and that can be
all progress begins by telling the truth. Of course, it sucks.
Well,
it's painful. It's hard.
Certainly, for you and I, we believe that, but there's a lot of people that can't get in motion to go see a financial advisor because of the uncomfortable nature of what they have to talk about.
Oh,
it's much easier for people to talk about their aspirational hopes, dreams, and visions for where they want to go, what they want to do, what they want to be, do, have, all of that. And this is the blend where we kind of couple and put those two together.
And it's been a progression. Yeah, something I've always felt we've done well, and I saw you do this in the early days when we first were getting to know each other, when you were my financial advisor, is you always used to take a very genuine interest in what was going on in my life, what happened in my life, what's happening in my life, because it was so important to you to be able to connect the dots between my life and my money. And what's just happening as a natural evolution for our business, right? There wasn't a lot of personal planning that needed to happen because it was happening in real time. It wasn't as much about helping me discover what was going on in my personal life as much as it was you discovering what was going on in my personal life so that the financial plan would fit, which I think our industry overall has done a really good job with, right? Is understanding what life looks like for clients so that the money can align with that.
Yes.
What's starting to evolve for us is that as our business owner clients are getting closer and closer to that day where the label of I'll use our example, I am a financial planner who owns Gebhardt Group. As I get closer and closer to that changing, which, it's still a ways down the road, but I'm a hell of a lot closer to that than I am the first day I got licensed back in 1995.
Sure.
So the fact that I'm closer to the 18th green than I am to the first tee box tells me that if I don't start thinking about what life is going to look like after the 18th green, when I walk off the golf course, and I'm no longer Matthew Grishman, financial advisor who owns Gebhardt Group, then who am I? What am I? It's now become more than just understanding how somebody lives their life, and it's more about helping them realize what life can become. So there's a planning opportunity there, and that's been the evolution for us and why it just completely integrates into our financial planning process. So I am super grateful that we've had an opportunity to start introducing that process a little bit. And granted, we're staying very high level with this. The magic, right? I mean, we want to give the tribe conceptually what this process looks like. So whether it's working with us and doing this or finding another advisor in your local community that you can go through this process with, just being able to integrate what and who I am going to be afterwards with the financial planning. It's mission critical. So, and again, last episode, we talked about where that starts. That starts with an unpacking process.
Yes.
It's really about having you unpack your life in front of us, guided through thoughtful questions, a lot of curiosity, with a willingness to be vulnerable.
Well, and that unpacking process is also, if you're to dissect it, it is part financial planning and part personal.
Right. Absolutely. And it's an opportunity to get to know where you've been, where you are, for the benefit of starting to plan where you're going.
Beautifully said.
So once we get through that unpacking process, then we start moving into this next stage of the planning process. We go from unpacking your story to defining your story, where now we have, we've done the inventory. We don't know where we can possibly go if we don't know where we are. So we've done that work. We know where we are. Now that we've gathered that data, we can start defining where we want to go.
And the best part about this is the client defines it.
Yes.
We don't define it.
Yes.
We are just the guides through the process to help them define their vision of the future, their vision of life 3.0.
Sure.
It's some of the most funnest stuff. I said that very intentionally. That's some of the most funnest stuff that we do is when the client starts to really breathe in the conversations that we've been having. And now we're going to start to engage them in a process and an exercise that really kind of takes that.
You pull it out of them.
Exactly.
You've been doing that really well for a long time. You did that with me. I mean, I remember when I first, opened my kimono with you and dropped my whole story on your lap and shared with you, kind of my priorities of, hey, I got in this business to make a lot of money, right? I wanted to make a lot of money because I wanted to spoil Amy, give her everything in the world she could ever want. Granted, she never asked me for that. That was my own head. And then if she thought of me as her hero, I would somehow develop this miraculous sense of self-esteem where I'd feel good about myself, right? Because somebody else says so. And where you very much could have, no, you're doing it wrong. What you said to me was very different. You gave me a little pat on the back for, dude, you're really close to something here. You're onto something here. What would happen if we just reverse engineered that process a little bit? You gave me something to wonder about. You didn't tell me what to do. You didn't even make a suggestion. You just said, what would happen if you reverse engineered your priorities? And instead of starting with the money piece, you just started with that self-esteem piece, that relationship with self piece. What if there's a way for you to build that irrespective and independently from what anybody else would think or what money could potentially buy you? Then could you potentially show up for Amy the way she might want you to show up rather than the way you think you want to show up?
Right.
And could that possibly simplify this incredibly challenging relationship you have with money at this point in your life? And so to be able to help me see that it already existed within me was very empowering. It was very helpful. I mean, here we are.
If the best time to plant a tree
was 20 years ago,
which it was, that tree's pretty good today.
It is. It's solid. Good roots.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've been reconnected with an old mentor of mine, and one of the many things that he has taught me is a concept that I was doing it back then, but I wasn't really aware of it.
Right. You were total subconscious guru.
Is let's be interested versus being interesting.
A little
And I think there's a little too much today about let's be interesting.
Sure.
And I'm not picking on our people in our industry. I'm just saying on the planet.
Sure, that Instagram is all about being interesting.
Let's be interesting to keep the eyeballs on the page.
Yeah.
So if you can take the time, and this transcends obviously financial planning land, but just be interested.
Yes. Can I call you St. Francis from now on?
Sure, why not?
Because that is the essence.
That is the essence
of St. Francis.
Yeah.
My Catholic friend. You like that? You like that?
Nice
you like
tie
that?
back.
Yeah. You want me to go into the Sermon on the Mount next?
Sure. Sure. I mean, Grace and I on our way up to studio today, we had a couple extra minutes, and I was twitching in my OCD way about how dirty my car was. So we stop into Quack or whatever it is, Ducky Freshy, whatever it is. And the young man that's swiping the card, he just was kind of going on. He needed to go off for a minute about how tired he was and how he had to fill somebody's shift. And he's been up since 2 a.m. and he hasn't even eaten and he's exhausted. And Grace and I were just there for a minute, just being interested in him. Like,
holding space.
Grace was giving him some encouragement, like, you got this, buddy. You can get through this today. And I said, well, on your next break, you should go get something to eat. And he's like, that's probably a good idea. Just in a little microscopic-y kind of way.
Do you know
right?
how? Yeah.
Be interested is what really this whole journey is about.
Yes. You know how many people who are listening to this in our tribe right now are nodding their head? Because those are the people that like to hang out with us. People who have that. Our entrepreneurs are people who are naturally, genuinely curious about others. And so I really appreciate that reminder because it's so important to be more interested than interesting. It leads to a much fuller life. It's why we do what we do. And it's this part of the process that I get the most interested in people when we are helping them define their story.
Exactly. How do we do that?
Well, if we go rewind, and I forget what episode it was in the personal planning episode, one of them where we
12,
talked about the different
38, 84, 106.
Well, no. I know we talked about it.
I'm being smarty pants.
I know we've talked about this before over the history of the show, but specifically in the series we did on personal planning, we talked about the different assessments that we do early on with Colby and Print, the personal checklist, the financial checklist, the professional checklist, the dreams and visions, all these different
X-rays.
worksheets,
all
right?
X-rays.
Because again, it's X-rays for the integration of personal and financial planning. What we've also scratched the surface with a little bit, and we're not going to get too into it today, is this idea of the clarity compass, because this ultimately is the exercise that I think drives the entire bus in our planning process. This is our secret sauce, right? This is that fun secret sauce on the Big Mac that just, it tastes familiar, and I think I could recreate it at home with a little bit of ketchup and mayonnaise and relish, but I don't know. Is there something really unique about this? And I think the way we've built this clarity compass exercise, it's part intuitive, but it really is about helping somebody pull out the essence of what truly drives them at a core molecular level. And again, taking it from a thought, most people have the thought, but putting it into a doing, an action on the piece of paper, verbally talking about what this value really means to me, right? This word on a flashcard that we show somebody that they see it and, oh my God, that's it. That's like my true north. That's it. That's the most important thing to me in my life. Well, what does it mean to you? What does it look like to you? How does it show up in your life? Do you have enough of this in your life? Do you want more of this in your life? If you have enough, how do you protect it? If you want more, how do you go get it? And helping guide them through an action plan of how to honor it, protect it, go get more of it.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. And then obviously connecting the dots between the financial implication of how do we support that? How do we use the financial resources to support this and continue to be your accountability buddy throughout the process?
To me, it's transformational. There's an unlocking of energy and spirit and drive and motivation that happens when we go through this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Because it frees them up to go get in motion on something, right? Whether it's the trip that they keep putting off, whether it's as something as, I'm going to go buy a new iPhone. I'm going to hire a trainer. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to sign up for medical tests that, I've been putting off for years and years and years and years.
We're going to go to the Ryder Cup.
Exactly.
That was purely off our clarity compass.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? You and I both are aligned. Well, we have different words that describe the same thing. You and I both have a big draw towards doing and having experiences, investing significantly in our memory dividends. There's nothing I enjoy more than sitting down with you on a couch, flipping through some pictures of some shit we did a whole bunch of years ago and reliving it again.
Exactly.
Most valuable dividends I am ever paid.
Right. So let's just unpack that ever so slightly for our new members of the tribe.
But feel free.
The concept of a memory dividend comes from one of our favorite books called Die with Zero.
Ah, there you go. Bill Perkins. Yes.
Bill Perkins' book, Die with Zero. That is a key nugget takeaway, is when you're making this kind of investment, that it's going to pay you dividends forever. And who doesn't like dividends forever, right?
Right.
And I mean, I look back at a couple of the golf trips that I've taken that financially were significant investments. 04, 09, last summer, 3 in particular, our trips to Bandon Dunes, right? I could not tell you with a gun to my head what any of those cost within $1,000. However, when I see the pictures, our dear friend that just recently passed away,
I'm going to go there with that.
I have a CD-ROM that he gave me. And for our newer our younger listeners.
No, make them go look it up.
Sure, go look it up.
Go look up what a CD-ROM is.
Go ask Claude what a CD-ROM is.
There you go.
Of several hundred pictures and some videos. Wow, the videos are horrible in terms of granular, and
Sure.
It looks like it's
they
from
call that
Mars.
pixelated.
Right, pixelated.
Yeah.
Let's just say that the memory dividend value of those has spiked to an all-time high when I can relive those moments, and I'm reminded of them, but now I see our dear friend in a much different, healthier stage of his life because this was pre-cancer.
Sure.
The value of those pictures to me now are priceless.
Absolutely.
Utterly priceless.
And let's talk about the value of those experiences to our dear friend. I saw him a week before in his hospital bed. You were there with him the moment he passed. When I saw him a week before and he was still awake and coherent, ironically, he wasn't laying in his hospital bed clutching his big bags of money.
No, he was not.
But what he was doing was clutching the memory dividends
Yes.
of the things we got to do together.
Yes.
The experiences we got to have together. And he's one of the living examples that taught me the value of getting very clear through the clarity compass, because when we took our dear friend and his partner through the clarity compass, we sat in their backyard and it was a 5-hour process. I love him, and it was holy cow. I mean, it was energizing for me. It was exhaustive and energizing all at once, but what it did was it allowed that moment in the end to realize where true wealth really is.
And he was at peace.
Yes. It was awesome.
He was at peace.
What I love so much about the Clarity Compass process is what the actual gift in it is for people like our friend who just passed and every client we've ever brought through it. And it's to develop this incredible relationship with the word no. The Clarity Compass exercise gave me permission. It gave you permission. It's given the hundreds of clients we've taken through this exercise the permission to look at all these different aspects of my life and the things that I'm saying yes to because I feel like I need to please the world. And it gives me permission to say no to the things that no longer serve me.
Let's face it, the world that we live in today is full of distraction. And I mean distraction in every sense of the word, right? You look at your childhood and my childhood, right? And how we played.
Mm-hmm.
It was very simple, right? There weren't that many distractions for us.
No, we
right?
had sticks and stones.
Did you have
Hot
club
Wheels
anything? Did you have a sports program that was a 6-day a week with travel in the summer? And
no, I had Little League practice 1 day a week and 2 games.
Right, exactly. The level of distraction, let alone with these digital devices that we carry around all day, make it very, very difficult for us. We've lost our relationship with the ability to say no.
Right.
And the way our dear friend that just passed would say it, that does not serve me.
Right.
He taught me so many things. And that has been one of his greatest gifts to me, is this concept of, no, that does not serve me. And the permission that comes and the strength and the confidence that comes from being able to say, no, that doesn't serve me. I'm no longer going to do that, or I'm not going to participate in this, because that no is allowing me to say yes to something else.
Hell yes to something else.
Well, if it ain't hell yes,
it's a no.
It's a no.
And this is something, thank God for Lindsay on our team.
Yes.
She is holding us incredibly accountable within our own organization. Every time I come up with some kind of crazy harebrained idea of I want to go this way, she looks at me and goes, is it a hell yes? Well, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's a no. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I need somebody in my life like that. I've learned through going through the Clarity Compass myself that sometimes I can get caught up in wanting to say yes. And if I'm really being honest with myself, it's because deep down inside me, there's still this little people pleaser who has a whole bunch of FOMO when everybody's off doing something and I'm not included.
Right.
But when I check my ego and I go back to the Clarity Compass that we co-created, that you co-created with me as my financial advisor, and I go back to the Clarity Compass, my 4 essential values in life that drive the bus, and I look at the action plan that supports them and how my financial life has been set up to support them, so much more becomes a hell no. To the point that it was my absolute favorite chapter I wrote about in my book, Financial Sobriety. I wrote a chapter called Say No More, which was a little play on words. It was say no more and say no more. And what I talk about, and this is what you and I both live incredibly today, is this idea that at the beginning of each year, I'm going to identify anywhere between 1 and 3 things. That's it. Very small, 1 to 3 things that no longer serve me. And instead of creating a New Year's resolution that I'm going to go do something, instead I find 1 to 3 things that no longer serve me, and I add them to my say no more list. Now, if I blow a resolution back in the good old days, like I'm going to get healthy this year, I'm going to go to the gym every day. That's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to the gym every day. By January 12th, I missed my first day. And what do you think happens by January 13th? Resolution gets flushed down the toilet. All done. What has changed...
You might have been distracted.
A little. What has changed is that these say no more items that go on the list are things that I've identified no longer serve me. So it's not about adding more to my life. It's about elimination. Right? Our Clarity Compass process helps people get all the distraction out of the way, elimination, so that what we want to say yes to becomes that much clearer. So on my say no more list, it started with like easy stuff. Like I knew I got to say no more fast food. I got to say no more sugary drinks, no more soda, no more alcohol, right? These are things that I needed to put on my list. Now, with the exception of alcohol, the other things, when I would go a year later and look back on my year and review it, was I perfect? No, I still hit it in and out every once in a while. Still popped a Diet Coke every once in a while.
Let me put my collar on. Hang on a second.
Please.
Let me. You can go into the confessional with Father Mulcahy here.
I still find myself doing these things every once in a while, but I'm doing them less and less.
Go say the prayer for St. Francis and you'll be just fine.
Absolutely. I'm making progress. It's more the serenity prayer, right? Knowing, having the wisdom to know the difference.
Father Mulcahy what to do?
I'm trying. I'm helping him a little. But it's just, it's the say no more list is starting to evolve. Like some of the things now, I mean, I'm pretty much, I can't remember the last time I had fast food, and no more sugary drinks. Every once in a while, I'll treat myself in a long car ride to a Diet Coke, but that's an every once in a while.
Yeah.
What I'm now starting to say no to are things like comparison, things like gossip, talking about other people when they're not around. My favorite thing that I added to my Say No More list this year, I've had to add it a couple of times, but it's finally kicking in for 2025, is no more negative self-talk. When I catch myself going, you stupid, nope, that's not nice. Don't do that. Don't say that.
Doesn't serve you.
Doesn't serve me.
Yes.
Telling myself what kind of a piece of garbage I am no longer serves me. Somehow it did. But it doesn't anymore. So it goes on the no list.
Yeah.
I'm not able to do this without the Clarity Compass showing me what matters most in my life. Because once I'm clear on what matters most in my life, that pretty much gives me permission to say no to everything that doesn't serve it.
Yeah.
And I feel good about
let's
it.
get in. You jumped there, but that's great. You feel good about it.
I feel great about it.
Right. Because it gives you now permission to go do what? Because you're starting to say no to these things, it's giving you your own sense of energy and confidence to go say yes to what?
To the things that absolutely matter the most to me.
Right. So the rewarding nature of that is off the charts.
Yeah, I get to go to the Ryder Cup.
Right.
You and Beth get to go visit Jack in Prague later this month.
Right.
I get to go away with my family every year over the holidays. I get to watch my son get on a knee and ask the woman of his dreams to marry him instead of, because I had to say no to something else to say yes to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm super clear on what I want to say yes to.
Yeah, that intentionality is just, it ripples through everything. It's like oxygen. It just starts to permeate all aspects of your life in a way that is more and more and more rewarding.
Well,
that's beautiful.
It ultimately moves our clients out of this kind of permission-seeking mindset and into this really confident, capable decision-making space that you and I have lived firsthand. And it, to me, is the greatest gift we get to give not only to ourselves, but to the people who want what we have in our clients and our friends and our family members. It really is the essence of our entire process. And I'm always grateful.
Couldn't agree more.
When we get to talk about it.
Absolutely. Because it also needs to permeate a lot of people's thinking.
Yes.
Because I think if more people learned how to say no and how to say no more,
right?
Because they had clarity and they were intentional with what was important to them, I think there'd be a lot more peace in this world.
Oh, no doubt.
We'll save that for a different show.
No doubt. All right, we got 2 more episodes left that we're going to be talking about the financial planning process. We have unpacked your story. We've started to define your story by developing a very unique relationship with the word no. In the next 2 episodes, we're going to talk about how we begin to shape our story going forward. What does Life 3.0 begin to look like from a financial perspective, integrating some of this personal planning work, and then ultimately the final stage of this whole wealth journey planning process is where we actually get out and live our why. Those are your next 2 episodes coming up on the whole wealth journey. And brother, it's an honor.
It is an honor.
And with that,
that's a wrap.
Thanks for joining us today on the whole wealth journey. Are you ready to start planning for a future that's rich in wealth and well-being? Then click like and subscribe and make sure you don't miss a single episode of the whole wealth journey.
So if we've struck a nerve with you today, where do people go?
You can find us at GebhardtWholeWealth.com. That's GEBHARDT wholewealth.com. We'll see you next time.
Jim Gebhardt is a registered representative of Integrity Alliance, LLC. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Integrity Alliance, LLC, member SIPC. Gebhardt Group Incorporated is not affiliated with Integrity Wealth. Jim Gebhardt and Matthew Grishman are investment advisor representatives of Gebhardt Group Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. The opinions in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or investment recommendations. To determine which investment or financial advice may be appropriate for you, consult a financial advisor prior to investing. Any reference to market performance is based on historical information, and there is no expressed or implied guarantee of future performance. Opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of Integrity Alliance, LLC. The topics discussed and opinions given are not intended to address the specific needs of any listener. Gebhardt Group Incorporated does not offer legal or tax advice. Listeners are encouraged to discuss their financial needs with the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance.